welcome to the Social Living Podcast. I am your host, Julian Green, mentor and social media consultant. And I also have my co-host here, Jamal Lawrence, social media executive at Superdry. Welcome to the Social Living Podcast. I should get a round of applause, in it, but we'll,
Yeah,
we'll, we'll work
definitely.
that
We need
in.
to start. We need to start clapping ourselves or something. We're clicking.
You know what I mean? Trust
Mm,
me, 2021, 2022, sorry, 2022. Yeah, we'll big things coming in it, 2022.
mm.
You get me? So it's mad, like just on that. This time next month is gonna be 2022. You know how
Bro.
that's mad.
Yeah, I can't even think about it. I don't know where this year's gone. I can't. I was talking to Tanika about it. Like, it felt like summer was yesterday. Then it felt like
Mm,
Easter was like 3 months ago. Like, yeah, it's all mad.
mm.
It's all mad.
Time waits for nobody, man. Time waits
Mm,
for no man. That's what they say. To me,
mm,
I was just saying, I was on the phone earlier and I was like, it's mad that 2022 is in a month's time, and then 2019 is going to be 3 years ago. Like, it's like, bruh, that's when
mm,
I got married in 2019, innit? And it just doesn't
mm.
feel like that. It's going to
That
be
does not.
three
Yeah,
years.
no way. No way.
And like,
That is scary, That's a
technically,
scary thought.
it's very scary, very scary. And on top of that, like, the pandemic started in 2019,
Mm,
technically. Like, that's where we had the start and the birth of COVID-19 in around December, November in China,
mm,
in Wuhan. Wuhan's not in the press anymore, but that was in 2019. And, we're about to go into 2022. It's like, wow. Do you know what I mean?
mm.
It's just scary. Well, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But how are you, man? How are you doing, Jam? How's your week been?
I'm alright. My week's been ups and downs, man. I started off amazing. Kid
Yeah.
twice. First night was an absolute
Mm.
joke. Second night was in the box. Like both two different experiences, but both great in their own right. And then had the vaccine on Wednesday, and then that knocked me for six. Headaches, headaches for like
Yeah.
the last 2 days. And then I need to
Yeah.
tell you actually, I got my eyes checked this morning. Need glasses. Um,
Oh.
yeah, yeah. This is gonna be a separate conversation with you, but yeah, I need glasses now. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's been up and down week, but yeah, still loving it. It's been a busy one. Been a busy one, and next week's
Mm.
gonna be another busy one too. So yeah, enjoying the busyness. Just looking forward to the Christmas rest as well.
Mm. Yeah, me too, man. I can't wait for that. The Christmas time, and I like it. The
Mm,
whole family gets together, the children get together, and that's another joy in itself.
mm,
You can tell you're getting old when you like the fact that the kids come together and like
yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I just want Killian and Elias to start playing and interacting with each other, and yeah, we're at that stage now, which is mad.
Trust me, it is mad. It's mad. And to be fair, touching on children, I think we should just segue this into the next or into the topic we're about to talk about.
Mm.
Actually, I always do this. People probably hate me for this. I always say, we're gonna go into this, and then I change my mind last minute. I want to ask you a question quickly, right?
Mm.
But I don't want you to give the answer right now. I want you to give the answer towards the end of the show. After the end of the show,
Okay.
once we conclude the show, that's when I want you to give your answer. So,
Mm.
um, it's just a little hit question, all right? So you got two options, yeah? So I gave you a red pill or a blue pill, right?
Hmm.
And if you took the red pill, you would go back to being 10 years old with all the knowledge that you know now. And that's your first option if you took the red pill. If you took the blue pill, you would become 45 years old and you will have 50 million pounds in your bank account. Which
Mm.
would you choose?
It's a good one. That was a good
The
one.
good one,
Yeah,
yeah?
I'll
What?
have a think about it because I know I'll sway from both pills throughout the episode. But
Yeah.
yeah,
All right, cool. All right,
that
so
is a
that's just
nice
one
one.
there. All right, cool. So we're gonna dive into this topic here. So this topic is what age should children have social media accounts? And over the past year, we've seen a lot of like news around social media, kids, child predators. Myself and Jamel both having kids as well. This is just something that we know we're going to have a discussion about at some point. So we thought, why not have this discussion now?
Mm,
And I think it's a great place to start. I think you know what I think I know we touched on this a couple of weeks ago, but I think we should like just give an overview in terms of like when we first jumped on social media and then kind of compare it to the kids today, if you get what I
mm,
mean.
mm.
And then we can kind of
Yeah.
like launch it into there.
So yeah, when I first jumped on social media, I was probably year six, which was
Mm.
MSN. How old is that? Like
Year six
11?
is what, 11? Yeah, 11 years old.
11, yeah, yeah. So 11 years old. And even that seems young now. I
Mm.
think it's just a worry,
Ah,
We'll probably jump into it, but it's the worry when you have kids and what they're actually going to be doing and being exposed to, especially nowadays. But we can jump into that. What about you? When was
100%.
how old are you? How old are you?
See, so for me, when I was 11, there was no social media. There wasn't, it wasn't there to exist.
Mm,
So my first entry point again was MSN. Obviously, I'm older than you. So MSN probably kicked in about year nine. So what's that? So 12, 13, 14 years old.
mm,
And I think, I can't lie, I think that was a good age. I think that was a good age. And I feel like I knew enough. I knew my rights and my wrongs.
mm-hmm,
Like maybe not every right and wrong, but I was aware if I was giving up too much information, I knew I wouldn't. I knew I shouldn't. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I just feel like things like that. Like no one could at that time. I don't feel like anyone could coerce me. I feel like I was
mm,
talking to people that were that were my peers, whether it be at school. I wasn't connecting with many people that was outside of my school, but if I did, it was someone else could vouch for that person. It's like, yeah, I know him. Do you know what I mean? Like
mm, mm,
they knew that person or knew her or met her or him. Do you know what I mean? So
mm,
I feel like I had that maturity. But in today's day and age, kids are instantly like they're aware of social media probably from even around 5 years old,
mm.
if we
It's
really
tough,
deep it.
yeah. And it's tough to compare as well. I'm just thinking back now. And like if you comparing MSN to Instagram now, they're two different beasts. Like we thought MSN was great. We had to speak to our friends online, no cost apart from the Wi-Fi, and it was great just to have that instant connection. But now, where social media is at, it's a complete different ball game. I think that's where the worry is now as parents looking at looking at the likes of Instagram and TikTok and the exposure
Mm.
that is given to the kids now is where the worry comes, and it makes you question when is the right age?
Yeah, 100%. I saw a statistic. Oh wait, we got a question. Let's get this question real quick. School. I,
Hey, guys. Hey, um, today is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. But listen, I got some good news for you guys, Jamal and everybody on the panel, everybody listening as the audience. Um, you're gonna want this life insurance policy is because eternity is a very, 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 very. It don't end eternity. So all you gotta do while you in this natural plane is confess Jesus Christ with your mouth. Confess Jesus Christ came in the flesh, died on the cross for every one of your sins, okay, and rose on the third day. And then you're going to be water baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And God will put your names in the Lamb's Book of Life. It's so simple to get this eternity life insurance package. Very simple, and it's free. You ain't got to pay for it. It's free. All right? I just want to let you know that God so loved you, and he gave his son for every last one of your sins, so you got a way out.
okay then.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you, King and Priest. But we're trying to stick onto the subject. And thank you for your kind words.
I think that's a
That's
good point. No, getting these messages is a good point about the pros and cons of social media. One, everyone has a voice, and every voice is kind of heard because there's
Mhm.
now a platform for people to have the voice. and like we just experience them, we have no control of what people are gonna say. Like that message could have been anything. And if it was a different message, and if we were younger, the message might be influential, and it may have coerced her to do something that we didn't know we were doing. I think that's like the message is great, and it's great to get that interaction, but for younger
Yeah.
kids, and the unknown of what messages might fall into their path is where the issue is.
You know what? You put a different perspective on that message for me. You know what? You are so right. And you know what? That's what social media does. It definitely offers everybody a voice, and everybody feels that their voice is really important. And if you are able to put your voice across in a certain way, you can definitely have some influence over other people, and especially people who might not feel part of a community outside of social media. And I saw a statistic earlier when I was doing some research here, and like it says that 39% of children think that their parents have no idea what's happening to them online. That's 39%. So that's almost 40% of parents of children that think their parents have absolutely no clue what they're involved in online. I think that's a very scary thing.
Do you know what's scary about it? I thought it would be higher. I definitely, because
Y-
I don't think I don't think, I actually honestly don't think many parents know the levels of social media, and yeah, like I keep saying the word exposure, but the exposure their kids have to loads of different communities, loads of different people. I'm definitely surprised that's not higher.
You know what? I think there's so many things that can go into some of these statistics and very like those of these anomalies and variables because like when I was on social media back in the day, or when you were on social media, your mom wouldn't be on social media with you.
Mm,
So nowadays, you're probably seeing parents being friends or following their children on various social medias. So they might have an indication, a better indication of what's happening on social media or with their kids,
very true.
do you know what I mean? So I feel like
Mm.
there's things like that can play a part because part of me was like, you know what, that does seem a little bit low, but then just the sheer amount of kids, and if we say kids is between 5 and 15 that are probably eligible to go on social media, although obviously most social media apps are like, you have to be a minimum of 13. I think that it definitely goes lower than that. And we've seen it.
Mm,
We've seen parents creating profile. Some of these influencers are creating profile pages for their kids. That
mm.
this is baby so and so. Do you know what I mean? Although they might not have access to it or anything like that, but the content that you're putting out, like you might be okay with some of the content that you're putting out of your child and stuff, but sometimes you don't know where that goes. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like we don't know how far that goes, and obviously that doesn't directly affect the child right now, but later on it might do, if you get what I mean.
Mm. Mm.
But
No, I get you.
it's a scary place right now. I'm not sure if you've seen any documentary, especially when it comes to like child predators on social media. Like there are so many young girls and boys that are just they're preyed on by these predators, and it's so easy for them to just create an account and just talk to someone and then ask them to send pictures and things like
Mm.
that, and even just manipulate kids in a way where it's like, oh, I'll tell your parents that you did this, or do you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like, and then the kid doesn't want to get in trouble with their parents because they know they shouldn't be talking to strangers or whatever it might be, and then they'll do something that they shouldn't do to try and protect themselves from their parents, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get you.
So
I get you.
it's it I thought that and it's at this point where I feel like, you know what, you should just be 18. Once you're 18, I feel like the you might have the knowledge, or
Hmm.
social media platforms could implement like a prerequisite, like a something that you have to complete or do or course or something like that before you kind of go onto social media. Same way,
Hmm.
you couldn't just be 13 and then go driving on the roads. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? You have to learn the highway code first. You have to take your theory test, and then you have to take your practical test, and then
Mm.
something like that. Again, this could be a little bit far fetched, but I feel like more can
No,
be
but
done.
no, I was gonna say I'm with you there. I'm definitely with you. Like you said, more
Mm,
definitely can be done to just keep the kids safe, I guess, and find a way to make it a safe place for them to be on at a young age. Because we know no matter how hard we try, they're gonna want to be on social media from yeah, probably as young as like 7, 8, and that's always
yeah.
going to be an ongoing conversation. But it's yeah, making it a safe place makes the conversation with parents a lot easier.
Yeah, very much so. And I feel like I don't want this to be a session of just us grilling, you know, social media, because obviously we work within social media and we know social media is amazing. And we know that it can actually be beneficial for a lot of kids. Like
Mm,
if you just think about socializing and just communication and opportunities for like community engagement. Like I remember when I was a kid, right? As much as I liked football was like my biggest passion, hands down.
mhm,
But there were times when, let's say it was raining, I couldn't play football, right? I found other passion, and other passions used to be like gaming or art. But then
mhm,
it in school sometimes, if I gamed, it was like you're part of this nerdy group. Or if I
mm,
was into art, it's like I'm part of this art group. But it's like if I had like a social media platform where I could actually connect into a group, I might not feel like I need to do it in person. I can just do it
mm,
online, and I'm attached to that. I'm attached to that community on a social basis online. You see what I'm saying? Where some
mm,
people might feel isolated at school and they might not have the community that they want to have, but online they have it. People listen to them. Like, oh, they're streaming on Twitch or something, and people are
mm.
following them. But when they're at school, it's like they're not the guy. So you get it?
Yeah,
You see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. It
And
gives
I feel
yeah,
like,
it kind of opens you up to yeah, like you said, more communities that you can feel yourself within. Because we all know what school is like and how isolating it can be for some kids. But yeah, if you can kind of find that space with you and it is through social media, you've got your outlet there. And you've seen it
yeah,
through I know you talk about net like how gamers used to be perceived as like nerdy people. And then you had like the
mm,
likes of teen stars like KSI, for example, that have kind of
mm,
broke down that barrier, created his own community football in FIFA esports community and kind of built that up. And then you've got stars like even Justin Bieber doing videos on YouTube and the rise from his like his fame has literally come from that. It stemmed from his YouTube days and just doing samples and covers on YouTube. So like I said, there are definitely positives to take from it. Yeah,
mm.
we could grill, and probably is a lot to grill about around these social platforms, but yeah, there's still the opportunity there is massive.
Very much so, and we got to try and find and strike this balance. And obviously, Instagram already tried to suggest that they were going to try and create like a social media for kids, aimed at kids. And I think that it's a good idea, but I don't know how it would look, because you need to have you can't just have like, oh, you can't just have a platform that anybody can just sign up to. I think that's another thing as well. Like, we don't want to be sending pictures of our kids to you so you can verify it's a child or anything like that.
Mm.
We don't need that. But what we might need is okay, the way you can get access to this platform, you have to maybe enroll through a school or something, or the school gives
Yeah, 'cause-
access, or something like that. But then that might isolate people who are homeschooled and things like that, so that might not work. But there there's just got to be other ways, or maybe it doesn't have to be like a social media platform like Instagram, like what we have now. It could be done through gaming, and it's just through avatars and stuff. But then, yeah, it's just ensuring that it's just through kids. But then, like,
it's tough, yeah, because it then
gone.
becomes a playground, like you said, for predators. Knowing that like there's this
Mm,
kid space where there's only kids, they need to regulate that somehow so that adults don't have access to it, but maybe
but then,
parents would still want access. So yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know. I actually don't know.
but,
I don't know how they'd overcome it.
but so this is where I think that maybe it might just be like, okay, look, maybe that happens from maybe 13 years old,
Mm.
as opposed to anything younger than that. And if you're younger than that, just you need to build other skills.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, like it sounds, I don't know, it sounds a bit short, but maybe when you're a kid and you're below 13, like the way you use social media has to be a more in a solely just communicative way, in a sense of you're playing a game, you talk to someone to play the game, but you're not
Mm.
sharing pictures of yourself. People can't directly message you unless it's within the game.
Mm.
But you know what? The more I'm suggesting these ideas, is like the more I'm seeing loopholes, and
Yeah, you
it's
can
like
see the faults. Yeah.
you can see the faults, and that's why it's like, oh, you know what? It's just like, look, I even think sometimes it's like, okay, you can say 13, but I feel like if you're 18, you just got a little bit more knowledge about you,
Mm.
and a little bit more life experience to be able to combat certain things. And that's not going to be everyone. There's still going to be cases of people feeling manipulated, at the age of 18 by older predators or whatever. But at 18, there's probably a higher chance that you've got all your, like, you've got a better foundation and better head on your shoulders to be able to deal with certain situations. Do you see what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Because I can't lie. I like, with what I'm talking about on the internet or social media, I wouldn't want my son to just see that all the time, if you know what I mean. Because there's certain
Mm.
times, like, look, I listen to music and sometimes it has swearing in it or whatever. That doesn't mean that I shouldn't listen to songs with swearing. It doesn't affect me like how it's gonna affect my son, because if he's gonna be exposed to that at such a young age, he's not ready for that yet. But when it gets to like
Mm.
16, 17, 18, he can probably deal with it better because he knows when he can or can't swear, if you know what I mean. Not to say swearing's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna say, yeah, everyone go start swearing. No, but I mean, like, most people swear, and if they don't have the vocabulary to be able to express themselves, they can easily just say a swear word, and every single language has them. So
Mhm.
he would know when he should or shouldn't say it in himself by the time he turns 18. But if at
Mm.
5 years old he's saying it, he's just going to be saying it for attention. He's going to be saying it in front of teachers. Do you know what I mean? And then we're going to be blaming the music. But really,
Mhm.
he just shouldn't have been exposed to the music at the age that he was. So it's like, I don't really want certain kids on social media platforms like Instagram, for example, if they're just too young and not ready. I feel like
Mm.
there just needs to be courses on usage and just something for them to kind of go through, and then something that makes them aware of these predators, I guess. Like, when you were a
Definitely.
kid, you were always told, don't speak to strangers, or always, it's just like
Mhm.
you got given some kind of guide with your parents, or if it's someone outside of your community, you just know you shouldn't trust them. Do
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Because you don't know who that person is until you might get the nod from your parents. But obviously, not every child
Yeah.
is gonna listen to that. But it's like it's some sort of guide.
Yeah, we need something. Something needs to be there. And I don't think it's something that needs to be rushed. Like I'd rather these companies take their time and master it and kind of shut down any possible loopholes, and it take like a year or two to get right, than rush out and come with
Yeah.
something that has these loopholes and then puts the kids in a vulnerable situation.
Mm. So like, let me pose a question to you. So your son, let's say he turns 9 years old, and he's like, Dad, I really want to go on social media. Half of my class is on social media, and they've been sharing memes and stuff with each other. And I feel like I'm missing out because I'm not allowed to have social media. Would you let me use social media?
No,
What do you
I'd
think?
still say no. I'd explain the pros and cons to it. I'd explain the dangers of social media and that the right age for me, I'm thinking in my head the right age is 13,
Mm.
that I can maybe help police it and just help monitor it with him. But would you say 9?
Yeah, 9.
Yeah, I just think it's too young, and they don't really know the dangers of social media. They just see that it's like you said, like a
What if
little
he?
community where. So did
What
you
what
say
I was gonna
something?
say was, yeah. So what if he's like, look, I'm only gonna speak to my friends. I'm not gonna add no one that I don't know. I'm on private. You might have parental settings on there, so he can't, like, only you can maybe accept who he can and can't speak to, or something like that,
Mm.
you know, or if something like that's
I'm
in
s-
place.
I'm still saying no. Like I think I'll stick to something you stick to. So I think they'll end up knowing, may potentially, it depends how clued up I am on social media, but they'll end up finding new loopholes or new ways to go around it. Like they might create that account that you have access to, but then they might create another account that is public and they can speak to whoever. So I think it's
Mm.
yeah, I think it all comes
Okay.
down to, what age they get a phone and what
Oh,
is that
yeah.
age. Because then when they get the phone, it's free game almost. I'm sure they know how to download the apps and log in and create accounts. So
Mm.
yes, I think it's you kind of take a step back and you think what age do you give them a smartphone?
That's a tricky question, man. We got another question,
Mm.
Jam. Do you want? Let me play it. Adrian.
Honestly, I think for kids to have, um, any social media access, I think about maybe 16, maybe 15, or even 17 would be a beneficial thing to do. Just because of the fact that, um, you know, is that if you want your kid to be a kid and to go through, just worry about the simple things, not really worrying about the mediocre stuff of what social media tries to manipulate younger kids. And I think if you don't want that to be your kid, right? If you don't want that to be your child, I think you need to be able to not always censor certain stuff, because I think you need to address it to the kids. But I think that you need to manifest it. You know what I mean? You need to control it a little bit.
That was very interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
I,
sorry.
I think, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think, the ages that you sent there, I could see you're kind of like going up and up, and I think that happens to all of us. As soon as we start talking about kids and social media, and like, I like what you said, that you need a kid to kind of be a kid, but then is that based on our own experiences as being a kid young and not having social media or not having technology like what they have now? Because our kids growing up now, by the time they want to be on social media is probably just inside this metaverse. Do you know what I mean? And they're experiencing it
Mm.
in a completely different way to the way that we're experiencing it. And I think he's right. I think Adrian's right when he said that we shouldn't really censor everything. I think there's I think once we censor everything and then they go to like they'll use what we've censored as freedom. And I'm weary of
Mm,
that because I've seen it firsthand. I've seen a quick story. When I was in college, we had an exchange student from Jordan. So he was raised as a Muslim. As soon as he got to our college, he was asking about where's the alcohol, where's the pork, because he'd never experienced any of these things, and he was banned
mm-hmm.
from having any of these things. So as soon as he came to the UK, he was eating pork and bacon sausages like there was no tomorrow. He started gambling. He did everything that was against his religion because he was forbidden. It was forbidden from him. So he saw this as like, if these guys can live with it over here, it's okay. And
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like those things started to turn into addictions for him. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like
Mm,
we kind of need to be able to understand like I feel like once you give your child the freedom and they're exposed to it, just in like small increments, I think then they can understand that they have a choice and then they can choose their actions as opposed to them being prevented from
sense.
doing
Yeah.
something and then yeah, and then as soon as they're able to go do it, they just go overboard. Do you know what I mean?
Mm, mm.
So
No, I couldn't agree more. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, that's what I put.
sorry, good.
That's what I put. We got another question as well. Shall I just
Yeah,
very quickly?
Adrian,
The other thing, the reason why I say you control it when it needs to be there is because of the simple fact that um because of the fact that I think that as a family, you know, if it's not about who's right, who's wrong, who gets a say in the family or who doesn't, because at the same time though, like if you've experienced it yourself, you already know on what it can do. And the last thing you want to do as a parent is hear, oh, what little Jimmy said to little Tommy, and that has nothing to do with your child. And so that's the thing though, is that it's about having your kids not really worrying about little bullshit of that stuff going on, of stuff that they shouldn't really having to worry about so much.
yeah. You know what? Can you hear me, Jam? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, no, you know what? Like that's a good point. I never even thought of that. Like, we kids are gonna be seeing other interactions that they I guess in real life you're not gonna hear or see, So your child will see another someone liking someone else's post. Do you know what I mean? But then they might not have liked
Mm,
their post or something, and
mm,
that can make your child feel away. But then this is this is where it kind of confuses me a little bit because that that real life that we talk of and the kid being a kid isn't kind of today's society. So it
mm,
can it can feel a little bit outdated to a certain sense because they're gonna have to deal with that because they are gonna have to see that. And let's say they grow up and they end up being on LinkedIn or something like that, you're gonna see other people liking other stuff and it being suggested onto your feed and things like that. You are gonna be exposed to that as you get older. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely, definitely. And the
So,
point about seeing little Jim, I can't remember his reference, but his little Jimmy seeing someone like Tommy's
Tommy,
post. They're essentially they are real life issues. Not if you take social media out of it, that might be little Jimmy inviting little Tommy to a party in real life. There's still that element of like FOMO or why weren't I invited? Why didn't he like my post? Like that's it's honest. It's there's similar issues that are the kids will have in a real world that will transition onto social media. So like that is not a major issue for me. That wouldn't be a major issue for me as a parent. I feel like that's just part of the child growing up. You're gonna have these little rejections and little issues that you'd
But
have in the real world that you also have.
could you argue that on social media it will be more in their face based on how social media is just set up with the algorithms?
Potentially, yeah, that is the hard bit. Whereas, yeah, in the real world, something like that might not be as in your face, like you said, and it might have been done within different conversations. You've not got that exposure to the conversations. So yeah, like you said, it's a different time, it's a different society, and it'll be a scary place in the next 10, 15 years. So it's hard to kind of have an answer for it.
Yeah, no, it is. Adrian, he's been engaging in the shows to see he's got another voice note here.
Also, the other thing is that I think that if you have your child raised in the right way, right, have a good, solid, strong backbone. Like I said, I let them know about what social media is. Don't really be so like negativity about it. About it so much. But however, though, have him as a teaching lesson, like, hey, y'all guys, let me be honest with you guys about social media, and the reason why I'm doing this for y'all guys is because I want y'all guys to be kids. I don't want y'all guys to be, sexually harassed through social media. I don't want y'all guys to be, hooked into the wrong people or with the wrong crowd through social media wise, because you think your kid can be so innocent and so not guilty about certain stuff, when in social media streams it can kind of be a little bit story, so you kind of gain your kid out of that.
Yeah, the part of like raising your kid right. I think I don't know. Now I'm a parent. I feel like it's gonna. That's a hard thing to know. You
Mm,
just hope you've given your kid the right tools to be able to make the best decisions for them and themselves. Because there's going to be times where I'm going to disagree with whatever my child thinks, but based on the way I've raised them, I hope that even if I disagree with the way they think, they still know how to conduct and carry themselves and protect themselves kind of moving forward. Do you know what I mean? They still have to be able
mm.
to, have their, but whether you've done it right or not, it's so hard because every single one of your children is
There's
going
a
to come
tough.
out different.
Mm. And this is like that. The whole parenting thing is, like you said, since becoming a parent, you kind of I look at my parents and look at other parents differently. And the more podcasts I listen to and interviews I see, just makes me change my perspective on parenting. Because you see that strangely, a lot of people that are successful have not had the greatest upbringing. And I'm not saying don't don't be nice to your kids and don't give them a good upbringing, but that the whole thought that being a good parent is an easy job, and a job that is like attainable for everyone is not. Yeah, it's definitely not it. And like you said, it makes you look at the way you parent and how you are with your kid, because yeah, you want to do the right thing, but again, what is the right thing? A lot of the times it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one.
Yeah, very much so. It's a hard one, and all I can do is do what I think is best, and that's what our parents did for us. And whether they were right or wrong, you might see some of the flaws maybe to your parents parenting as you got older. But that's all they knew. We got more information to what than our parents have had. The access
Mm,
to podcasts and information and things like that, and the less pressure of us maybe having to work like labor some jobs. Like we've been able to kind of climb up the professional ladder in a different way as opposed to more laborsome jobs. So, like, it's like you've almost kind of moved up a class in a certain sense, and
mm,
that gives us access to more information. So when we come to raising our kid, we're going to be doing it in a very different way to how our parents raised us, and there's going to be strong elements in there where we're going to use some of the good parts of what our parents have done and try and implement that for our own kids. You know what I mean? And
for sure.
I could even argue as well, like I think back when our parents were parenting us, I think the government had less say on how your kids were raised, and the community had more of a say. Like if you were to talk to like maybe other even African communities, even Caribbean communities, like other moms would beat other kids to make sure
Mm,
that they act in a certain way. But now spanking your kids is not a it's not a thing. It's not allowed. It's illegal.
mm.
I actually heard of someone a couple of weeks ago who got sentenced to I think 5 years in jail for beating his kids. I think
Wow.
I think I was like, wow. Do you know what I mean? And um, yeah, it makes it so hard because we're going to try and raise our kids, but really and truly, all this technology, all that information that they have access to is really what might be raising our kids. And we have to somehow
Hmm.
find a way to control that. And that's not something that our parents ever had to endeavor, you know?
Mm. That is very well put. Yeah, different issues. Yeah, with different issues that we'll have to try and face and get our heads around.
Yeah. But Adrian, I love, you keep posing the questions and engaging with us. I like it. We're gonna keep playing more of
But the
your
main
questions.
reason and the main teaching is that if you want your kids to be off the phone and interact with your family, I think there's two things that you gotta do as an adult. You not only having to do as an adult, as a parent to your child, is to not censor a lot of stuff, but kind of control it. Like, okay, hey, this is the time that you get to have video game time. This is the time you get to do some stuff that you want to do. Obviously, make sure you don't get yourself in trouble, and that's fine. And then the other thing is that you also, do something with your with your kids, because other than that, what else do they gotta do other than probably chores and homework? Which, if any kids kind of used to doing it, they'll get it done like less than 5 minutes tops. You know what I mean? I think that in this way, in this teaching, I think you get your kid closer to you, get to trust, have that trust is there. And I think that's what you're trying to manifest, is that you try to manifest the trust, the capability that, hey, you can always talk to me, I'm always here, you know what I mean? Always bring about that, because I think that's the main huge thing, is that kids nowadays are now just breaking out of the cycle of speaking up and speaking loud, okay, but they need to know when to use that voice and not censor themselves, even when there's a strong bond between the two parties, from the parents to the child. And I'm just saying that because a lot of kids, I feel like, miscredit themselves, that because they don't want to be in a situation.
Yeah, you know what? I love this topic a lot, yeah, because I think everything that Adrian's mentioned has kind of led us towards parenting.
Hmm.
Essentially, it might not even matter what age children should be on social media. It's really what matters is how is like it really matters at what age is that child equipped with the tools to be able to be exposed to social media.
Hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
That
Like
is, yeah, that is a real question.
that is the real question. So, have they had the parenting? Is the parenting good enough? Are they been, are they from a good solid household? Do they have a good solid community? Do they know their, right and wrongs and everything like that? But at the end of the day, a social media platform is never going to know all of these things. It's not something you can eradicate, I guess. Like you can't eradicate, sexual predators or um, cyberbullying and things like that. It's just we have to try and lessen it, make sure it's less frequent. We don't want it to be you don't want your kid to basically have to go through that. But essentially there's been bullies for years. And the fact that it's now
Hmm.
online is just another case that you can't stop it. There's been racism for years. You still won't stop it. You can't eradicate it. you have to lessen it. You have to make it, 9 times out of 10, it needs to not happen. You know,
Hmm.
I don't know if you got anything to add to that.
Nah, I think yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and like I kind of like hearing what Adrian's got to say. 'Cause again, it's a different viewpoint, but like you said, it just comes down to parenting and when you think your child is equipped to kind of take on these issues that surround social media, and just having a confidence that your child is ready to to take them on and have an open conversation when if anything arises, being able to have that conversation with your child. But yeah, parenting is definitely like the way forward in terms of making that decision. Like it's having a guess guys just having a confidence in your child and knowing your child enough to say, right, I think you're ready no matter what age that is.
Yeah, I think once you start to show signs of responsibility and accountability, some people take responsibility for their actions, but they might not take accountability. Like they know they did wrong, but accountability is knowing you done wrong and not doing it again. And
Hmm.
and I think you have to really raise your kid in that way, you know, um, and understanding, you don't talk to strangers. You don't go behind your parents' back and create um a secret account just so you can have some
Mm.
freedom away from your parents, and kids are going to make these mistakes growing up as well. They're going to make these mistakes and you're going to find out. um Obviously my aim is to always try and be on top of everything, um with my with my children, but it's going to be very difficult because you got your own things to manage at the same time, so
Hmm.
your parent, your son could be like, "Daddy, what can you just do this?" Da, da, da. It's like, okay, how much is it? Okay, right, fine, £2 done. What if we're just done?
Hmm.
Have I just, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And we have to be mindful of those things as well because our kids are smart. They're gonna do that. I know I did that. I did that when I was a kid all the time. I used to know. You
Hmm.
know how to play. You know how to play your parents. Even my son, he's 1 years old. He knows how to play us.
Hmm.
And it's like emotional intelligence. He knows how to play us. They know, like if we're putting him to bed, he knows that if he cries loud enough, I'm gonna come back into the room. But then
Hmm.
it's a thin, there's a fine line between, I guess him knowing that I'm gonna come back and him feeling as if I've abandoned him. Do you know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
like, how do you get that? How do you get that right? And I feel like that question is always going to be asked of you as a parent throughout your life as parents. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that won't stop. That question, yeah, that question will follow you through as a parent for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't want to just want to big up all the listeners that we have at the moment. We are talking about social media. We're talking about kids having social media, and we're discussing, what age should children be on social media? Should children even be on social media? I think personally that there needs to be some prerequisites when it comes to social media, whether it's a course or some kind of awareness about the dangers of social media, just so everybody can have access to this as they join social media. It could be watch a video or, the same way you get taught about like sex education or something like that. It might not be good, but it's something and you're aware of some things at least. I don't know if this already exists, but I know when I joined social media, I don't get prompted with anything. You might learn about it in school, but I want to pose the question to the listeners: what age do you think children should have social media? There's a lot of Adrian. You keep flying in. I'm gonna play one more from Adrian again.
You know what I mean? Because at the same time, though, you don't want to, just like, just like how you don't want a child to handle a deadly weapon because obviously they're not mature enough to handle a firearm, let alone how to control it, let alone how to use it correctly and properly, all in the right time. It's the same way, but a little bit different when it comes down to social media. Obviously, you're not, there's no deadly weapon or whatever, but there is, censoring, bullying. There's a lot of stuff that your child could be antagonizing or could be a victim as. So there's a lot of things that as a parent, if you don't want to worry about so much about that stuff, it's always good to decrease about that by getting them off the phone.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. There's definitely a lot we can do with the kids. Like trying to get your kids off the phone, I think it's a powerful thing. But knowing that the phone is always going to be there, or more technology is going to be there in the future, it's like a it feels like that's going to be a losing battle. But just as
Hmm.
much as we're going to have to teach our kids about life off the phone or off technology, because I think that's really important. Things like headspace and meditation and things like that, I think they probably need to happen now more than ever, just simply for the matter of for the amount of, I guess, technology that's out there in the constant, I guess, need or urge for that. What's the word? The the notifications and likes,
Hmm.
that feeling that you get. I can't remember what the word is. The endorphins that you receive from getting all these messages, likes, and the need to want to have all this attention. I think we do need to be able to relax our mind from that. And us as
Hmm.
parents, not a lot of us even do that ourselves. So that's why when you
Hmm.
see our parents ourselves themselves, once they've jumped onto the social media train at their later age, they're still addicted to Facebooks and the Instagrams and even the TikToks just as much as the kids would be. Do you know what I mean? So it's like there does need to be education around switching off and having that life away. Okay, look, you know, we all go on social media around this time and we'll, not go on it for too long, and being able to see
Hmm.
and analyze your watch time and things like that. We're getting more questions coming in.
Yeah, let's fire them
I'm gonna
away.
play and fire them away. Yeah, I see Ethan Sice. I hope I said your
Just
name
a quick
right.
question, guys. Can I actually join the conversation to chat to you, man?
Sure you can. Let's try and add him in. How do I add him in? Is it possible to add him in? I don't know. Jam,
I
do you know how
think
to add
add
him in?
co-host. Let me see. Go listeners. Yeah, I've got it.
Let's add him in.
Just adding in. Yeah, just adding in now.
We'll add both of them, to be fair.
All right, cool.
Ethan, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Basically, yeah, man, I agree with you. Like, there needs to be something in schools that are being taught from a young age because my little one just turned 1 and he constantly wants the phone. And yeah, there just needs to be something about social media because it's a danger to society in general.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You know what? Congratulations on your little one. I got a little one as well. He's 1 years old as well, and it's the same thing. He sees me on my phone. I actually work within social media, so he sees me on my phone quite a lot. So whenever he's around me and my phone's near or on the sofa or something like that, he wants to grab it as much. So it's like I already know that he's already going to be attached to his phone because we all are. I am. My parents are. We all attached to our phones, right? So we
Hmm.
have to have some sort of education on that relationship with your phone. Like it's not going to go away. You need to be able to maintain some kind of balance when it comes to phone and being on your phone and not being on your phone.
Yeah, I
Like
kind of think we also have to be accountable as well. Like yes, the schools and there should be courses in place, but as parents ourselves, we kind of have to set the tone. Like you said, restrict certain times when we're on the phone after 8 p.m. No phones, just so you set that tone and your child knows the boundaries that come with having a phone and having social media. So yeah, I definitely think definitely a conversation to have around being accountable parents and setting that tone rather than having reliance solely on a school or nursery or whatever it might be.
yeah, 100%. Jam, could you just a quick one? Could you add Adrian to the conversation as well? Because I know he's got something to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Let me see if I can do that now.
Also, just to add another thing, like even my missus, like I've noticed when we're in, because I'm currently at work, and when I get home from work, it's like what 11:30 at night, and she waits for me to get in, and then she's literally just before she goes to sleep, she's on TikTok, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, and then it's like a recycle. I'm like, go to sleep.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of like replace the television because I remember
Mm,
when I was younger, I used to watch the television before I went to bed. Like, back in the day, obviously football fan over here, and I watch Match of the Day, but really I was just watching Match of the Day to put me to sleep. And
fam,
now we
that's
got
my
those
childhood,
devices.
boy.
You know
Those
what I mean?
Saturday
And
nights, match of the day. Yeah,
that's what it is. It puts me to sleep. But now those devices are in your hand,
yeah.
and we can't get it's like we can't get away from that. So we do need to set that boundary, as Jamal was saying before. Like, all right, cool. After 9, don't, no phones. We will put our phone in the case. But you know how difficult it is because we all feel the need to be connected. It's something, if there's an emergency, someone needs to contact you. You don't want to miss that call. You don't want to miss that trend, that conversation that's happening on Twitter, or do you know what I mean? It could be anything. And the more we feel tied
Mm.
into these communities, the more you're going to feel the need to be a part of certain conversations. And it's going to be harder for you to disconnect. But you
Plus
are
now
right. We do need to have those things. Yeah, go on.
mm, I was just gonna say, plus everything now is linked. So you might put your phone away, but then you might get your tablet out. Your tablet might have Instagram. The notifications still come through. You might say, okay, tablet and phone go away. You might go on a laptop. Notifications are still flying through. You might say tablet, phone, laptop. Let me put that away. Now you've got the TV on, and you're still getting notifications come through your TV. So it's definitely hard to kind of stay away from that. And like you said, there's just the constant notifications, even like Apple watches and watches, smartwatches as well. It's finding a way to kind of set your boundaries around technology, and there's now settings in place so you can restrict yourself. No notifications after a certain time. You can go on do not disturb to kind of set those boundaries for
Yeah,
yourself. But yeah, it's difficult, man. It's difficult.
like I've got something dramatic happened to me like this year, and I got rid of all my social media, everything from Instagram to Facebook to Snapchat, all the social media, and I was off it for a couple of months. And then I started my new job, and then I need to find someone, so I'm not on it constantly. So I've sort of found a way to get off of it.
How did you
That's
feel? How
good.
did that make you feel?
I had to find a new hobby, which is Lego, and then that
Hey, I
Okay.
love
cost
that.
me.
I love that. I love that. I love that it's Lego. I've literally just started collecting like Speed Champion Legos and just building them out like in the evening. It's just a newfound hobby. I love how did
It's
you come
cost me.
across Lego?
So I got rid of my daughter's LOL's Barbie, and she wants to be a vet. So I wanted to find something that was in the STEM range of things that puts um, engineering, it uses your imagination, and we
Mm,
could do it together. So I started spending a lot of money, and I've spent nearly £1,000 on all of her Christmas presents this year, and I'm going to spend a bit more next year. But we're going to build like a Lego city.
nice,
Okay.
nice. You know what? And it's things like that I think that is gonna help people when it comes to like social media. It's finding that real it's having that balance in that real life. So you can connect online, but you can also go to a place where you're able to be creative and have real life conversations with people without like the constant need for notifications and stuff like that. So having a Lego space, even if there was like places where you could just build Lego. I don't know if these spaces exist, but it would be so
They
cool
do
where
and they
you got
don't
like
know, but then it's sort of with my job, there's sort of when there's something wrong, I need to answer it, and then she don't like it because I'm on my phone because I'm sorting it out. But then it's just hard to sometimes separate work and yeah.
No, it's real life, man. These are real life problems, and we're all going through it, and we're all trying to find the answer. And that's why we like having these types of conversations, because we know it's not easy, and especially as parents, and knowing the, I guess the what's the word, man? Knowing the consequences of the actions that our kids are having now, and we know that we're probably in it as well. Like you just mentioned, you had to quit social media, and you know, like now you got the next job is probably to try and get your missus to quit social media or not go on it as much and things like that. So
But
you,
she
as a
won't.
family,
She won't.
it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard, but like the benefit would be like the whole family being on the same page when it comes to this, because that's gonna raise
Mm,
your daughter, your daughter in the right way. You know what I mean? So I think that's
mm.
really, really, really important.
I'm just being present as well. I think that's something that's missed within families at the moment. Like where if you're not on your phones, you're just maybe idly watching TV, but taken away that you then get the opportunity to speak to your family and ask them about their day and without distractions. Like it's just that simplicity almost that's kind of missed.
You know what? Like
Yeah.
I was sorry, I just wanted to quickly just mention that I know in like other countries, the way their life is set up is more so around the family, and I think that we're missing
Mm,
that in like Western society. So like
mm,
if we look at like somewhere like Ethiopia, for example, or Eritrea, like when when everyone's going to work or school, let's say they all leave the house like between 7 and 8 or whatever, everybody comes home at lunchtime to eat together as a family, and then you kind of reimburse again, and you come home again at like 5, 6, and you eat as a family. And the fact that you can like eat breakfast together, lunch together, and dinner together, I feel like that's going to give you more of a stronger sense of community. So even during that time, people could be on their phones, but it's an opportunity to actually discuss. Your kid might be like, you know what, my first two lectures this morning was terrible. I hated it. The teacher was rubbish. And now you're more engaged with your child, or you can offload whatever happened to you at work in the morning. Or do you know what I mean? It's like giving you that stronger sense of family and using your family as a community. Where I feel like in the Western world, it's just go, 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 go. It doesn't really matter. And then you just kind of reach a point of burnout, and then you're stressed or you're depressed or you need a change, and you find it really difficult. And if you're not getting paid enough and all this kind of stuff, but if we focus more around our families as like our first communities and our first kind of base to be able to be present and communicate with one another, I feel like we'll have such a different result and a different outlook on life. Who knows? Maybe these types of technologies wouldn't even be created. I don't know.
So
yeah.
like take it from my job for instance. So I've been doing catering. I'm a chef and I have been for the last 6.5 years. And I sort of told my daughter the only way to earn money is by working, which is true in one respect, because you can earn it from other means and passive income and all of that, but that's a whole different conversation. But
Yeah.
it's sort of, she asked me, do I have to go to work? And I'm like, yes. But I've sort of, same as my uncle, he's always instilled to me that you need to work hard. And then sort of now I'm in a job where I can call my little one when she gets home from school. I have Monday and Tuesdays off, so I can spend time with the family. But then she's like, oh, why can't you have time off when I'm off? Yeah, man, it's all.
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. I think when it comes down to like that work life balance is something that's like almost like I feel like it feels like it's almost impossible to have. And
100%.
Yeah.
like I know that I'm trying to achieve something in that way. You know, I know that I had to go to school by myself 90% of the time in the mornings. I had to take my little sister with me 90% of the time in the morning as well. So that's another responsibility. Whenever I came home from school, there was no one ever at home. And it's like that's kind of molded me into the person who I am today. But then I know that I don't want that for my child all the time. I've seen the benefit of like having someone at home when your child gets when your child comes home, there's someone home to make sure that they're eating right. You're seeing what
Mm.
they're, what they're being, what they're watching on TV, or what they're engaging with when they get home. It's like it's very difficult because like they'll be at school the whole day, so that's already somebody else's time. How they're nurturing your child, really hard to gauge. Are they getting the right attention? Are they getting um, everything that they need for them to kind of pursue whatever they want to pursue in life? I already see it with my 1 year old. You try and sit him down to watch something or anything, it's difficult. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to experience. He wants to touch,
Yeah.
he wants to play, he wants to do all that kind of stuff. So already that's probably the best way for him to learn is by doing things. So if you're making him try and sit down and watch something to learn something, it's not gonna happen. You have to talk to him. You have to make him
Mm.
copy what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's like I know that at school they're not probably gonna do that to him. Do you know what I mean? They need him to sit down in a chair.
Mm.
It's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? And you know there's kids out there who are they just don't thrive within that environment. And I'm trying to be as cautious of that as possible because I know that he needs to be in a separate environment to that. But at this current moment in time, it might change with maturity. You might be able to sit down and engage in a different way. But
Mm.
right now, if that's how he engages, that's the best way for him to learn. You know what I mean? So
For sure. No,
it's hard.
definitely. This parenting job's not an easy one, man. And like you said, it's hard to
It
get that. It's hard to get that balance.
is, man. It is hard.
Also,
You know what?
are
Go
you
on.
still are you still from London?
Yeah, I'm from London, and Jam's
And yeah,
based
like,
in the
I'm
Midlands.
yeah,
Where is
Gloucester.
it?
So yeah, Midlands. Mm.
Oh shit.
So yeah,
Where are
man.
you from?
It's
I'm from London, man. I'm from originally
Oh,
East,
okay.
but I live in North.
okay. Nice. That's good. It's good, man. Typically we don't get any English people on the show. We do this every week.
Is
We
it?
normally do it on a Wednesday. Yeah, we do it normally every Wednesday, and we just talk about social media. To be honest, we're both social media experts. Me running my own agency and Jam working for Superdry, and we just discuss different topics around social media. We talk about this. Look, it could be anything, but we relate it back to social media. So in this case, we were talking about children and social media, which kind of basically just led us into parenting. Last week we spoke about the effects of Black Friday, the history of Black Friday, and just different Black Friday strategies that businesses could use. We talk about loads of different things. We spoke about Drake's album and the way he dropped it using social media strategies and things like that. So yeah, everything we do, we kind of relate it to social media. Sometimes it's tips and tricks and strategies, and then sometimes it's just kind of mindful and insightful debates like what we're having today. So yeah, man, we do it every Wednesday.
But fucking yeah, man. It's surprising you don't have many English people on here.
Yeah, it's true. Like, normally it's just American guys, literally,
Mm.
but it's
Mm.
good, man. I'm definitely gonna follow you on the app for sure. And yeah,
Uh,
man,
quick
hopefully
question.
on the
You
next
both.
ones, yeah, go and hit
Do
me.
you both have TikTok?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
I do. I do. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that works on an algorithm, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
So whatever you're watching, like say for instance, you watch motivational stuff. it'll clock everything you're watching within that sort of sector, and then it'll just post it constantly, won't it?
Yeah, so
Yeah. So
it
what
would
have you?
so any go on, Jam, you can do it.
I was gonna say, yeah. So anything you watch, engage with, share, like, comment, you'll end up seeing more of. TikTok will feed you the content it thinks you like to see.
Okay, cool. Because my missus just wants shit on there. But I've noticed that I watch a lot of motivational stuff. No, yeah, man, she just thinks she's scrolling for hours. But also, I've noticed there's a lot of stuff about men's mental health on there.
Okay.
A lot. Because guys don't get recognized, man. Like, yeah, I feel like we get a lot of shit. Just for being
Uh, we,
dudes.
we we do. You know what? I feel like you might be teeing us up for our next episode that we might have to have next week.
Mm.
For sure, because yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. And yeah, I do feel like there's a
That
lot of
needs
like
its own
toxic
episode
masculinity.
almost.
Yeah, it
Mm.
definitely does. It definitely does. Like, there's a lot of toxic masculinity out there. Men have a lot of stress, and but then at the same time, you have women fighting for a lot of things at the same time, and they just feel
Mm.
like they're not equal. But again, that whole goes into another conversation because are men and women, are they equal?
Yes.
You know, I feel like they face different battles. You know,
Mm.
so yeah, we have to definitely dedicate a show to that one for sure.
Also, just in my experience, are you both with your partners?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Cool. Sweet. So, you know when you went to midwife appointments,
Mhm.
Yeah.
did you ever get asked how you're doing? Or was it always your missus?
It's the focus is the misses, isn't it?
Yeah, it
See?
is. It is, yeah.
But, bro, it's two people in the whole of the birthing process. But I just got annoyed because I never got asked how I was doing.
Mm. Now these are good points, man. They're all valid. Like you said, the man, the guys kind of get overlooked a lot of the time. We're expected to just get on with it, I guess. And
So,
yeah, and that is an issue almost.
out of curiosity, did you speak to your partner about this? Like, what was her opinion on that?
She was like, no, it's all about me and if the baby's okay. And then she was complaining because people were texting me when we had our first child that I was constantly on my phone because people were texting me asking if she was all right. And then she was like, you wasn't there. And I was like, I was, but people were texting me.
You know, it's a hard balance. I can't lie. I only have one. My first one, I had to put my phone to the side, and the only person I
Mm.
was willing to communicate with was my missus's mum at the time, and then I'll text my mum. Like that was it, uh, just because of who she needed. But then at the same time, we had a lot of complications in our birthing process. So I
Mm.
feel like I had to be, it's like I had no time to be weak, if you know what I mean. I had to just choose
Mm.
to be solid in
Yeah.
that time, you know what I mean? So it was, I probably didn't think about it at the time, but there were definitely periods afterwards where, yeah, like I'm not really being asked anything or anything like that. And it probably didn't, as I look back on it, it probably didn't really bother me, but it's true what you're saying. Like, and everybody's going to deal with that differently. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So, yeah, no, I hear you. I definitely hear you. Jam, I want to ask you I wanted to get your answer on that last question, that first question I asked you at the beginning of the show. Have you got any
Mhm.
answers?
Yeah, so I've been thinking. So blue pill was age 45 and you got 50 million pound in the bank. Red
Yeah.
pill was you go back to, was it 18?
No, so a red pill was you go back to 10 years old with all the knowledge that you know now.
10 years old. I think I take the blue pill, and my reasons
Yeah,
being is yeah. So I skip ahead and go to
yeah,
45 or 50 mil in the bank purely
yeah.
because of what I've built so far. What I and I'd like to take that with me through life. If I go back to 10 years old, I don't meet Tanika, Elias doesn't happen, and at that moment, at this moment in time, like they are my priorities. So I want to include them within my life. So
Mm,
that being the main reason, but then also being 45 and having 50 million pound in the bank, I guess I've done something right to get to that stage.
mm,
So
mm.
yeah, I think that's my answer.
That's an amazing answer. That's an amazing answer. I
That's
hope
my answer.
Elias and T can listen to this. That's an amazing answer.
Mm.
I appreciate that, man.
What
I
about you?
think
What would your answer be?
my answer, you know what? I'm
Mm,
the I think it'll be similar to yours. I'm not
mm,
gonna give a definitive answer simply because I haven't had that much time to think about it. But I think there's a lot of pros and cons, and
mm,
I think I'll probably lean more towards the 45, um, simply because I don't think me going back in time to 10 years old with knowledge, I still don't think I would make right decisions, if you get what I mean.
mm. Yeah,
So
yeah,
it just like like some people might go, oh, I'm gonna go back and start Facebook, but that's not a knowledge, that's just an experience. You experience Facebook, you don't know. You going back and being 10 years old and trying to start Facebook, people are just gonna make you're gonna sound crazy. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
And
And
then
you don't even know
people
how the
people
process. Yeah, go on.
mm, people say about like yeah, just buy Amazon stock. But again, at 10
Mm.
years old, how are you doing that? And how like yeah, it's not as easy as people would think it would be.
Yeah, I'll just buy Amazon stock. I just buy Bitcoin, and it's like you're
Yeah.
10. So you
Mm,
you have to wait 8 years so you can open your bank account, make some money,
mm,
and by then you've probably forgotten. You
And
know what I
you
mean?
and when you need the money there to buy it. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So
Mm,
yeah, it's
To
some
be
people
fair,
think that they're gone.
like, so when I was in college, when Bitcoin was on the dark net or
Yeah,
dark web, my cousin had about 200 Bitcoins or 300 Bitcoins. And his
yeah.
mate said, listen, fam, stick it in a cold wallet. It's going to be worth something. And he fucking didn't. Same as me when I
Mm.
bought Ethereum when it was like £200. I wish I kept it. But then again, we are the people we are today because we made them decisions. So therefore, even if you went back till you were 10, could you convince your parents to buy certain things?
No chance.
There's no way. Yeah, there's no way my parents are
This
opening their mind up to buy none of that.
is what I'm saying. That's why I say like
Mm,
you can take your knowledge with you, but most people what they think about is just the experience. You know what I mean? It's the experience of Bitcoin being this, but then the actual
mm,
knowledge of actually getting the Bitcoin and stuff like that is completely different. You know what I mean? So like I remember I asked somebody else the other day and they said, oh, I'll go back and bet on I'll bet on football matches. I was like, you're 10 years old. Can you really
mm,
remember what happened in certain football matches? Do you know what I mean? Like every
Even
week.
thinking, I was just
So,
thinking, this is me deep in it now, but thinking like socially as well, have been the knowledge of the world and your mental capacity and how wise you are now. Having that as a 10-year-old is not great. Like you won't be able to interact with your friends. You'll be on
yeah.
different wavelengths to everyone else your age. Like that won't be an easy gig.
It won't be.
Uh,
Trust me, it won't be an easy game.
I don't know, man. Like, I had to grow up I wasn't like all my friends and classmates because I had to grow up from a young age and look after my dad. So, yeah. Sorry for getting so deep, but yeah.
No, I get you, man. Like, it's good that we have platforms like this for you to be able to kind of unload a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It's really important, and I hope, obviously, even next week when we do, obviously, if you do follow us, you'll get a notification. Um, and we'll talk about mental health, and we'll talk about mental health amongst men as well. And we'll try and relate it into social media for sure. And yeah, hopefully you'll be a part of that conversation too. And
Yeah,
obviously
man, I try.
you,
I try.
yeah. So yeah, we'll try and sort that out. But
Like,
we're gonna end this conversation here. But we've been on it for ages, and I think it's been an amazing conversation for everyone who listened. Ethan, thank you for jumping on. Adrian as well. You asked loads of questions and just really engaged, and I think this is hands down probably one of our best shows that we've done so far, especially on an engagement level. But yeah, I think we should wrap it up there and check us out next week,
what
Wednesday
time?
at 8 p.m. So
8 o'clock,
Wednesday at
yeah?
8 p.m. Yeah, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, you'll get a notification.
Sweet. I'll
Yeah.
try and be there, man. I
And
probably will be there. But if you do hear like a it's
yeah,
me
yeah,
getting an order.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
man. Trust me.
Sure.
Even if you're not there, you can listen. You can listen to it afterwards as well. So we put this up on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, it's everywhere. So, and all the links are in our profiles as well, so you can just find it there. So yeah, man. But peace and love, and thank you for joining.
no problem.
Yeah, that's the end.
Thank you for having me.
Love,
It's
love.
been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.